using some of the software that I have. So we're going to see how this works. I have no idea. There should be a chat box somewhere, but I have no idea how to find that yet. But we're going to be moving today, or rather that's what I'm going to be doing, and you are welcome to join along with me. We're just going to start in standing, and we'll do the Dasha Chalana practice. There's a couple of you who may know that from my YouTube page. It's a standing sequence that's mobilizing all the major joint areas of the body. And then we'll sit down and we'll work with the legs for a little bit. For those of you that are not familiar with me, my name is Austin. I am a yoga therapist. And my approach to movement, particularly in the context of yoga, is not necessarily about yoga asana. And so if you're looking for that, that's not what we're going to be doing here. But I do like to orient people to what Patanjali says in the Yoga Sutras of Sthiram Sukham Asanam, of finding stability and finding ease through movement, finding that nice position where we can let that ease flow through us. Because I have found that the easier we help ourselves to feel, the more likely we are to carry that sense of ease out into the world with us. And so feel free to join along with me as much or as little as you like. You can just kind of lean back and just listen in. But for those of you that are interested in joining along, we'll meet in a standing position. And there is one movement that I add to the Dasha Chalana. You will not find this in the classic text. The Hatha, in the Hatha yoga texts. But I find it to be useful nonetheless. And it's just starting by gently shaking the body up and down. Just let the body bounce, let the shoulders bounce, let the wrists bounce. Feel the knees bounce. And just notice how everything is moving and grooving. If you happen to be sitting down or laying down, feel free to just flap through the wrists. Give yourself an opportunity to get some of this bouncy movement, this bouncy energy flowing through the system. But if you're joining along in standing, continue to let the whole being bounce. And when all of that feels complete, let yourself return to a neutral position, taking a deep breath in. And then exhale with a big sigh. And as you like, go ahead and step one leg back behind you so that the top of the foot is on the floor, and allow that ankle to roll in a circle. If you happen to be sitting down or laying down, do anything that draws the awareness towards the sensations of the feet. So flexing and pointing the toes. If you're driving, don't do that though. If you're joining along and standing, let that ankle roll in the opposite direction. And also, if you're driving, you should not be looking at YouTube. And when you feel all rolled out from this ankle, let both feet return to the surface that you're supported by. Deep breath in. And exhale with a big sigh. Then the opposite leg steps back, top of the foot on the floor, and allow that ankle to roll. Again here, if you're sitting down or laying down, just moving the foot in a way that's appropriate to you. And if you're joining along and standing, let that ankle roll the opposite way. And then when that feels complete, let both feet return to the surface that you are supported by, taking a deep breath in. And exhale with a big sigh. And then let the head roll. Feel the head bobbing from side to side. There's a couple of different ways you can head roll. You can let the shoulders, or let the ears drop from shoulder to shoulder. That kind of targets the sides of the neck. But you can also act as if you're tracing a circle on the wall with your nose. And that's going to target the suboccipital ridge a little bit differently. And when all of that feels complete, moving in that direction, let the head roll the opposite way, picking a stimulus that is going to be useful to you. Just make sure that you move slowly enough so that you do not get dizzy. And then when all of that feels complete, let the head return to neutral, taking a deep breath in. Exhale with a big sigh. And then rolling through the shoulders. If you need some energy this evening, a fast shoulder roll might be useful, but if you need to ground this evening after a long and haggarding day, maybe slow the shoulders down. And when that feels complete, moving in that direction, let the shoulders roll the opposite way. It doesn't matter what way you started with. Just let yourself move the opposite way from which you started. And when that feels complete, let the shoulders rest, taking a deep breath in. Exhale with a big old sigh. And bring the palm of the hands together, interlacing the bottom 3 fingers so that the index finger sticks up and the thumb points back to you. You want the Charlie's Angels thing going on. With the hands in this position, let your wrists wobble from side to side. You don't have to turn sideways. I'm just doing that to show you the hands a little bit differently. So just let the wrists wobble and weave. You can also do this with closed fists. You don't have to have that one finger up. It sometimes takes a moment to get the hang of this pattern. But the real tricky part comes next. Give yourself a moment to pause before letting yourself go backwards. So same pattern, opposite direction, which can sometimes be a bit of a brain teaser. And then when all of that feels complete, let the arms drop down, taking a deep breath into the nose. Exhale with a big sigh. And fan favorite, twisting into empty coat sleeves. Just feel the ribcage twist over the pelvis. Let the arms get floppy as you twist from side to side. A couple of different ways that you can do this. You can keep the pelvis relatively disengaged from this movement, and that's going to target the ribcage, the lower abdominals, as the ribcage twists over the pelvis. You can also include the pelvis in this movement, which is going to have a bit of an internal and external rotation effect in the leg bone where it meets the pelvis. And then when all of that is complete, when you feel all wrung out of the spine, let yourself return to neutral, taking that deep breath in. Exhale with a big sigh. Hands move to the hips, and like SpongeBob, we're going to bring it around town. So just let the pelvis gesticulate over the leg bones. It's going around the world. And for those of you with sensitive knees and ankles, it does not have to be a big movement, right? It can be a tiny movement. We always want to invite in the opportunity for ease whenever we can. When all of that feels complete, let the hips move the opposite direction. Sometimes we think that we have to go big or go home. But in reality, slow, steady steps in the direction of our goals is often what brings about progress. And then when all of that feels complete, when you feel all spun out of the hips, let yourself return to neutral. Deep breath into the nose. Exhale, big old sigh. And let the feet come together. Bend gently through the knees. Hands come onto the knees. And let the knees churn. Again here, it does not have to be a big movement in the knees. It can be tiny. And especially if there's sensitivity in the ankles or the knees. Right, the smaller the movement, the better in those cases. We want to orient the body to stability, to ease. Sometimes slowing the movement down can be useful. And then as you like, let those knees bombulate the other way. There's a Moira Rose word for you all. And then when that feels complete, returning to a neutral stance, taking a deep breath in. Exhale with a big sigh. And the last movement in the Dasha Chalanic sequence, the inflatable tube person. The knees push forward, then the hips, the chest, and the head wave up. It's like you're doing the worm, but in standing. And let the body undulate. Keep the feet connected to the floor. Kind of hard to do this if you jump off the ground. But let the feet root you. And then, when all of that feels complete, allow this movement to slow down until the ride comes to a complete stop, inviting a deep breath into the nose. Exhale with a big sigh. Breathing into the nose. Exhale with a big sigh. Then breathing into the nose and out of the nose. One last time, breathing into the nose and out of the nose. And continue to breathe here. Let the breath return to a neutral cadence. And before we move down to the floor, just take an inventory of how you feel right now. What, if anything, is different about how you feel in your state of being? And then as you're ready, moving on down to the floor. If you have a block that you want to sit on, you are welcome to do that. So go ahead and grab that. Actually, I'm not sure how this camera is positioned, so we'll see if you can still see me when I get down. Yes, you can. Okay, brilliant. So a couple of things that we're going to do first. If you need to sit on that block or a pillow for some elevation, go for it. We're just going to start by bringing the feet, bottoms of the feet together with the legs out wide. As you can see, I got really tight legs and my knees are up. And so I often like to do this movement just to help things settle down. Keep the feet connected. A lot of people like to just grip the feet and then really flap the legs. What I like to do instead is keep the feet together and then notice how far can I move the legs without it disturbing the position of the feet. Can I still maintain the integrity of the feet pressing into one another without them opening and closing while maintaining this bounce in the knees? And just notice how it feels. It should not be intense, but if you're noticing a lot of pain in the knees, stop. Right? I do not specialize in the therapeutic application of pain. That would be your physical therapist. So definitely reach out to them if you're noticing that. And when that feels complete, let yourself settle. Taking a deep breath in. Exhale with a big old sigh. And play with the legs a little bit more. I'm actually going to remove the block for this one and come to rest on the floor. And so we can do a couple of different things here with internal and external rotation of the legs. And so have both feet out in front of you, bottoms of the feet on the ground, knees pointed up towards the ceiling. Hands can come back just behind the pelvis to support you a little bit here. You should not be rooting into the hands. There shouldn't be a lot of weight there. The torso should be able to hold itself steady, but if you need to lean back a little bit more, feel free to do that. And what we're going to do is we're just going to let one leg open and then let that leg come back up to center. And then the other leg is going to open and then come back up to center. I'm just going to start with this for a moment before we add a layer of movement on top of it. Some of you may notice that this is pretty intense already. If that is you, feel free to stay here. You do not have to add anything on. If you notice pain in the knees or in the ankle, make the movement smaller. We want to orient the body to that sensation of ease and let the body know that we're not going to hurt it. Right? Sometimes the body braces because it knows that we push. And so the body prepares for us to push. We condition it to brace. But when we start to honor the signals the body is sending us, then we find that we can make a little bit more progress in the direction of our goals because the body realizes that we are working together. So but for those of you who find some relative comfort and ease with this movement, we'll continue on. That first leg that opened up, you're going to let that continue to open. And then the opposite knee is going to drop down towards the floor, coming into this 90-90 position. And then as you like, that back leg is going to lift up off the ground. Pelvis is going to come back down to the floor as it rocks to the other side. And that initial leg is then going to drop down towards the floor. And then moving back and forth here. Just moving through this. There might be some of you who are very comfortable with this movement and can do it without the hands on the ground. If that is you, you are welcome to do so. Just let yourself move back and forth. If there's any pain in the knees, move in a smaller range of movement. It might feel good to hold. Right? Sometimes as we hold, we can lift up and maybe twist, just depending if that's comfortable for you or not. But if it's more comfortable for you to move in and out of this position, keep moving. Sometimes it's nice to just hold something and be stable. And as you like, move to the opposite side. And just hanging out here. Breathing. Your breath you can regulate your breath on your own. There's nothing fancy about inhale here, exhale here. Let your intuition guide you. Your body knows how to breathe better than we do. And so follow that intuition. Unless you're in a breath workshop, in which case listen to the breath person. And coming back to center, maybe extending the legs out in front of you. And just let everything flop for a moment. Sometimes windshield wipering the feet can be nice. I'm actually not sure how much of this you can see. We'll figure out camera angles next week. But when all of this feels complete to you, let yourself rest. Just because I only have a couple of minutes left before I begin evening sessions, I'm just coming to a little seated meditation. And so let the block rest underneath you if you need that, and find a comfortable seat. If you're sitting down on a couch, right, if it's difficult for you to be on the floor in this way, you can either do legs up the chair, which I have a video on my YouTube page, but you can also just sit on the couch, lean back in your recliner, however this makes the most sense to you. Just find a stable and comfortable seat here. Taking a deep breath into the nose. And then exhale with a big sigh. And allow your breath to move in and out of the nose at your own cadence. It is perfectly natural for the mind to wander. The number of people I work with saying, my mind is too restless, I can't meditate. The number of people that I hear that from during each week is laughably high. But the point is not to get the thoughts to stop. The point is to notice that we are thinking. So noticing that these thoughts aren't planted by us. These thoughts spring forth from the darkness of the mind. When we start to notice them, we start to experience the pause between the thoughts. And so as you settle in here, notice yourself. Some people like to root into the sensations of the breath as their anchor to navigating the thoughts. That's all fine and well. Other people like to orient themselves to the world around them. Engaging the five senses. What things can you feel? Noting the temperature of your skin. Noting the physical sensations, the downward pull of gravity. Others like to notice what they can hear and let the sounds pass by you without any judgment. Act as if you're a child hearing a thing for the first time. Don't give it a name. cultivating this principle of non-reactivity to what the mind throws your way. Always returning to whatever sensation is grounding you. And just simply allowing yourself to experience what is happening in this moment. So often we have to be somewhere or do something, and we forget about everything that we're processing in this moment. And so giving yourself this opportunity to reset, to recognize what is in your area of perception. What things are here and now for you. And perhaps you are able to feel the sensations of the breath and the calm, abiding space that it leads to. If you can afford the time to continue to sit here, I highly recommend doing it. But for those of you that have to get on with the rest of your day, feel free to take a deep breath into the nose. Exhale with a big sigh. I plan to do more of these lives at some point in the future. I have no idea if there's a chat somewhere in this. I'll figure that out and then respond to you all if people have been typing things up. But I do look forward to continuing this. And if you have any questions about how to maintain a bit of mental fortitude, or about how to work with diet, lifestyle, and routine, you are always welcome to reach out. So thank you all for being in. Thank you for your time. And thank you for continuing to be you. Until the next time we meet, be well. And now I have to turn this thing off, but everything's over there. All right. Take care, everyone.